And we are completely forgetting that film was so revolutionary, it created a new genre of music called jizz. I'm not joking.
You would know much about that one.
Pretty addressed. It's basically saying that. Breathe,
I don't know if
breathe.
anyone's going to get that.
Everyone have a sip.
Gather yourselves. I don't know if I could even clip that because it's so.
That was beautiful. So
such
organic.
a specific moment. Welcome to the very first episode of Plot Armor, the show where we fight hard but fight fair to answer stupid questions about the movies you love, hate, or have never even heard of. I'm Vincent, your host. Let's meet today's gladiators. Dun dun. He's got a Charmander heart and a Spidey-sized grin. With comebacks so fast, you'll struggle to win. It's Cameron Vernon. How you doing, Cameron?
Hey, good and you. Thank you so much for having us.
That's awesome. We wouldn't want to be here without you. Then next to him, from Tazos to time travel and Super Saiyan scenes, he's the YouTube voice behind your wildest geeky dreams. Give it up for Caleb Janssens.
That's me. Thank you.
Very first
I'm
episode.
very happy to be here on my YouTube channel.
Yes, that is the place for you to find him. And then on the end of the couch, last but definitely not least, he knows his beasts and his pop culture lore, from jungle tracks to the collector's store. It's Bruce Crossy!
What's going on, guys? Yeah, awesome to be here. Super excited to go on this journey with you, and let's dive into it.
Yeah, hell yeah. Wouldn't have this episode with any other guests. It's really awesome to have you guys. So before we continue, let's quickly talk about the rules. The rules are simple. 3 contestants face off over 5 debate topics. Each round runs 10 minutes, and the host awards a point to the most passionate debater, the one with the sharpest argument and fiercest rebuttal. After 5 rounds, the top 2 scorers enter the speed round showdown. 5 rapid-fire questions with just 20 seconds to argue and 15 seconds to rebut. The overall winner gets crowned main character of the episode, while the other gladiators fade into obscurity as the extras. You guys look thirsty.
My wife says I'm not good at speed rounds.
Yeah, well, you might
Only
win.
way I know how.
You'll see in front of you, you've got a delicious drink, and I believe this is a blackberry mojito. That is correct. Made by the lovely woman behind the camera today, and representing under the name Tibadine. So cheers to Tibadine. Let's give this a
Thank you
taste.
so much. This is great.
Fine. Yes, like I know we're fighting. But come on, man.
This is delicious.
Oh, damn, that is good.
That is so good. Cheers to a good round.
Cheers again.
It is a
Let's
mocktail.
also-
We won't be fighting drunk just yet. Cheers to those behind the camera. Love you guys. It is as good a time as any to get fighting. And we'll do that.
Oh, gosh.
Caleb's nervous and Cameron's got him on his edge. Our first question goes as follows. Robert Downey Jr. is officially back in the MCU, but not as Iron Man, who we love and know, but as the iconic villain Dr. Doom in the upcoming Avengers Doomsday. Some people love this casting, but others hate it. All we want to know is, who do you think should have been cast as Dr. Doom in the MCU? And I'm going to start with Caleb.
Oh, I believe John Hamm should have actually been cast in the MCU. He is a man who can play a variety of different roles while still remaining that core idea of hardcore masculinity. But he also exudes confidence. He has that royal edge to him. So he can play the more regal version of Dr. Doom, but also the more ruthless version of Dr. Doom. So I think that's why he'd be an absolutely fantastic casting.
Awesome. And Bruce, you go next.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Nicholas Hoult. A bit of a sidewinder of a choice. I don't think everybody would initially think of him, but I think he's someone who, basically DC looked at him first, and James Gunn pulled him over before Marvel had a chance to even look at him for a villainous role. I think Doctor Doom's a character that has a lot of aristocracy around him, and if they go that direction with Doctor Doom, I think that he can definitely hold that gravity on the scene of being an aristocrat, and he's got some really complex acting chops. I can see him going down quite an emotional route. I can see him playing it very strong. I think there's a lot of depth and a lot of places he could go with Doctor Doom that would be really, really exciting to see.
Awesome. And Cameron, give us your answer.
I think the main man, Henry Cavill, I think he would be the prime choice, not only because he's the king of the nerd, But I do also think that everything about him, from body shape to acting style, just shouts out Doom.
I love it. Okay, guys, fight it out. Let me hear some arguments.
Honestly, Caleb, how could you even to say that?
And now,
Okay.
If you are going to come here with that kind of answer, how can I even take you seriously?
Okay. I know you're joking, but holy smokes, I'm going to be serious right now.
Is that even possible?
We'll find out. The fact that you started your points by going, oh yeah, Nicholas Hoult, not everybody's first choice, already undermines why you want him to be Doctor Doom. And to hammer that point home, when we got our answers, because we can obviously research each other's answers, I thought you made a mistake. I thought you answered the wrong question. I really don't think Nicholas Hoult has the gravitas to be this physically imposing figure. When you see him take on a role like the Beast in X-Men, he looks completely unrelated to himself when he actually displays strength. And I think he actually does well when he's playing a mental character, so maybe he can try to take that side of Doctor Doom, but he definitely doesn't have the physical abilities. I would never look at Nicholas Hoult if you're watching this. Sorry. I would never look at
Nick, I'm
Nicholas
here
Hoult
for you.
and go,
Don't you worry. I've got your back.
I could take him in a fight. I could take him in a fight.
Let's set that up.
okay, in the next episode.
Whereas I think Henry Cavill, holy smokes, from a physical point of view, yes. But
You mean
I
every
think-
point of view?
Sorry?
You mean every point of view?
No, definitely not. Because I think you have to think about the MCU as a whole as well. I think Henry Cavill is perfectly cut out to play a character like the Sentry. And when you cast him as Doctor Doom, you miss that
No,
opportunity.
but that wouldn't work because he already plays a trashier version of the Sentry.
I'm leaving.
I can't even take you seriously.
Wait, I'd like
right
you
now.
to elaborate on who you mean by saying that.
Well, they put me next to the most trashiest hero and the one I'm referring to.
And for our folks listening, he's clearly referring to Superman.
Super dumb, man. I mean,
I'm very angry. But
Okay.
what I will say...
Yeah,
what I
this
will
is not
say-
a Superman fight.
Yes.
But I've heard a lot of you. I want to hear more from our other two
I
gladiators.
think that just because somebody's not your initial thought doesn't make them a great casting. That doesn't not make them a great casting choice. Like you said, Nicholas Hoult, someone who's very cerebral. I think he could actually take on the role incredibly well. Doctor Doom is someone who's, when he's physical, he's in armor. You don't need that physicality necessarily all the time to bring across a good Doctor Doom. And I think that Nicholas Hoult has got that emotional depth to be able to dive into a variety of different sort of modes and transfer his persona that he's dealing with. Because at the end of the day, Doctor Doom is also a very manipulative character. And it seems that the way the MCU is going with it is that he's going to be somebody who comes in and kind of manipulates from the get-go and then takes over to be a bit more of a daunting figure. So I think that daunting physicality is actually secondary to the cerebral part that you could play. And the aristocracy of Doctor Doom is something that I think fits really well in with Nicholas Hoult's character. If you look at him in Nosferatu, he's got that vibe. He's got that kind of, that Sokovian, I think they understood it in that kind of area, that European kind of vibe that I think would fit quite well with him.
What I will say in
I want to hear
response
more from
that-
Cameron first.
Yeah,
I
Caleb.
think that firstly, like ham, when I think of him, I think of bacon, and that's just the problem, you know. Also, I think that casting Henry would, you know, talking about the bigger role of the MCU and all that, casting Henry as Doctor Doom would possibly be the greatest choice because it's a lackluster entrance. You know, there's this big hype around him in the culture or in pop culture as it is, especially with him coming in as Wolverine in Deadpool and
The
Wolverine.
Cavalry.
Come on now. But I think as a character for Doctor Doom, he would shine in the space that it's not just about who he is, but who he is behind the scene. I think for the most part, and in every thing that he's really acted in, it's been about him as the person, not necessarily the character. Whereas, you know, I look at both of your options. The first one, I have absolutely no clue who he is. So, you know,
Good reason.
It's not a
It's a
good reason
very-
not to cast somebody. Some of the best performances come out from unexpected places.
fair enough. And with the old Beast, I think that it would be a lack in judgment from the MCU part because they're trying to bring multiverse together.
I didn't even think of that. That's a great point. He's already in the MCU.
So there's already that plot hole, and you could argue the same with Wolverine, but he's Henry Cavill, so who cares?
So there's two things I want to respond to. In regards to you talking about the manipulation chops of Nicholas Hoult, if you watch something like Good Omens, you can see John Hamm act that out to perfection. He is someone who's supposed to be perfect. He's an angel, and yet he's like the most devious character in the show. He does that perfectly. So you have that devious nature that you like from Nicholas Hoult, as well as the physical attributes. When you watch a movie like Baby Driver, you see him and his physicality. I understand what you're talking about in regards to the star power of Henry Cavill, but the good thing about having star power is you want your audience to root for him. You don't want people going into
Which
Avengers
is what
Doomsday.
Dr. Doom wants
You don't
to happen.
want people to go into Avengers Doomsday going, I want the bad guy to win.
Yes,
you
we do.
want to sell
That's one of the
tickets.
biggest issues with Robert Downey's casting. I think a lot of people are looking at his casting and going, this is Iron Man. This is a character that we genuinely love. And he's coming from a background of being a superstar and a draw card. I mean, the fact that you're like, he's Henry Cavill. A lot of people have that feeling for like, okay, we want to see it because it's Henry Cavill. That's not what you want in your character. You want your character to be based on somebody who's going to bring something fresh to the role and not going to be relying on their own archetypes. I mean, Henry Cavill is one of the most like ingrained pop culture figures, from The Witcher to Superman to, playing in Mission Impossible movies. He's and James Bond, Mission Impossible. He's done it all.
I want to roll it into a final argument for me.
Yeah, so I think from my side, that's really where my argument lies, is that Henry Cavill has actually a lot of the same issues that we have with Robert Downey Jr. If you are going to cast aside RDJ, I don't think that Henry Cavill is a suitable replacement based on the fact that he is just that same star power and same energy coming in, and bringing over from a Wolverine-like character. I feel like the transition from Cavalrine, if you're going to bring a multiverse argument, to Doctor Doom is just way out there. I think Nicholas Hoult has got the acting chops to do it. I think he might not have the physicality, but that isn't the basis of the role. It's a character who's in a lot of armor. He's in a lot of, his brains are largely the biggest asset to him, similar to Iron Man. So I think that they share a lot of those same basis for a character that would make Nicholas Hoult a good choice.
Okay, Caleb, give me your final argument.
I think the weakness with both of your choices is that they are not strong across the board. Yours is not strong physically, and as much as I love Henry Cavill, he's never played a role where you go, damn, that guy's smart. You look at Henry Cavill, you go, ooh, that guy got abs. So I think John Hamm is the perfect middle ground where you have a good dose of both. And I think that's what we need. We need the best, well-rounded version of Doctor Doom. And whether you're playing the intellectual Doctor Doom, whether you're playing the physically imposing Doctor Doom, John Hamm can do that.
Okay, and Cameron, final argument?
For me, I think going Bruce, similar to what you said regarding Robert Downey Jr., I think that the massive mistake that the MCU has made was taking such a prominent figure and thinking that it's going to be a draw card, when for most of that movie, yes, argument would say that he was behind a mask with Iron Man, but it's a different mask this time. Same with Henry Cavill. I think that he could have the same gravitas and the same response. I think of Pedro Pascal in Mandalorian. I mean, Pedro's acting is not to par in most parts, but because he's behind a mask, everything shifts and changes. Henry Cavill doesn't need to be the most intelligent person in the room as long as he has a good writer.
Okay, time.
Love you, Henry.
Okay. So
Be careful here. Just don't tap the cable.
Please don't touch my cable.
You, man.
Okay, so I will say that I really love the wild card you represented with Cameron, but you did one illegal move in the art of fighting by not at least checking who the people are.
No, I did. To be honest, I did. Yeah.
But I will say that I really love the angle you brought, but I do think that in which you criticized Bruce with the whole brilliant argument, and then you fell victim to it. Yes. And that is unfortunate, because I loved that point, and then you fell victim to it. At the same time, Bruce, I think you set yourself up to a difficult fight, but I was very interested in what you had to bring, and you brought a lot. But it was
choice.
knocked down in the sense that I think Nicholas Hoult does need to have, Doctor Doom needs to have a little bit of physicality that Nicholas Hoult doesn't represent. And I think the point Caleb
Watch him
made
get
in
jacked
Give It-
for Lex Luthor.
and also the point, I think you actually kind of argued against yourself in giving us so many examples of other superheroes he's currently playing, at least, or recently played. And for that reason, I think you a little bit discounted yourself. And Caleb, you're going to get the point because you gave me a good idea.
Prejudice.
You gave me a good idea of why John Hamm fits the character. You gave me a good example of why he should play the character. Good examples in Good Omens, in something like Mad Men and stuff like that. So you painted a good picture. And even though, once again, ironically, he would be my second choice in the room, I will give you the point.
First choice?
Whatever I have planned. You guys cast it like shit. Now, I'd be quite interested in... I think all three of these could work. Let's be honest here. All three could work.
Henry
It's
Cavill would have
vastly
actually
different
been my
talents.
first choice, but I want him to play Sentry.
Sentry's already been cast, hasn't he?
No, that's Adam Warlock.
No. Isn't Sentry the villain in the upcoming Thunderbolts movie?
I've deliberately stopped watching
Am I
Thunderbolts
correct?
trailers.
I don't
Sentry,
know.
I'm fact-checking this. I'm pretty sure...
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw Caleb's answer as John Hamm, I was like, "It's a damn good answer." I knew it was funny. When I saw John Hamm, I'm like, I can't even try and rip him down.
My personal answer, I don't even know the guy's name, but it's the guy, I would have gone for the guy in, he's Malfoy's dad in Harry
Jason
Potter.
Isaacs.
He's also in the OA.
Jason Isaacs, yeah.
He would have
A
been,
bit
I think he
old.
would be
A bit old, but he
Oh
would
no,
be,
I think he's fine. Like,
De-age him. Put a bit of makeup on him.
Okay, I want to see what Sentry has already been cast. So,
I think much like my
I
pants.
know that there's something with like dark powers, but I haven't been watching the trailers for Thunderbolts because I loved the first one so much.
Sentry is literally the main villain in Thunderbolts, and the guy they cast works really well. So, I need to take back the damn point. Yeah. Okay, you're lucky. You can still get the point, but it's been go watch the movie. I don't know the guy's name. It's the guy from the show that just came out with...
Take back the point and give it to me because I deserve it.
No. Okay, just kind of off edit. What's that series with Josh Brolin where he's on a farm?
Not Yellowstone.
And he finds an alien hole. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Caleb, you get the first point. Congratulations.
Much like my pants, you showed us flames.
Yes! I do like these.
Yeah, that's nice.
I'm trying to make them a thing.
Okay. Let's move on. Question number 2. It's quite easy to think of a ton of movies with an amazing soundtrack, but today we want to focus on another crucial aspect of movie music. So we ask you this: which movie has the best original score of all time? We're going to start with Bruce.
This is a tricky one. I think, scoring really makes a film in a lot of aspects. I went with Oppenheimer. I think that it is a incredibly complex score that Ludwig Göransson puts together. He composed over 3 hours worth of material for the film. It has to walk this really gentle and fine line between being beautiful and devastating and sort of elevate a character who, in Chris Nolan's words of Oppenheimer, is dancing between the raindrops. I think that the score does that. It has the rousing moments, it has the lower moments. I come from a scientific background. I listen to that score when I'm writing. It just gets me into the zone, it gets me into the mode of the character of Oppenheimer, and also paints a broader picture of what's going on at the time. I think that the horror, the elements of beauty in there, the technicality of the score is phenomenal. Did win the Oscar for it. We'll throw that out there as well in a very competitive year. And he put together a score that he wasn't sure wouldn't be able to be recorded. It took them 3 days to record the Can You Hear the Music portion of that soundtrack, where the initial score is increasing so quickly. It goes from 75 notes in the first minute to literally 4 times that by the end. He wasn't sure they'd be able to do it. They had to come up with some really exciting, innovative ways to do it. So I think in terms of telling a story through a score, has the highs, has the lows, has the intricacies that you need in something where you have a complex character that needs a score backing them. The fact that that score was there, I think, also helped Cillian to bring home the Oscar and really hammer in his performance as well.
Awesome answer. Cameron, give us your answer.
Mine is definitely Jurassic Park. I think the Jurassic Park theme, I mean, you just hear the theme song and you know dinosaurs are about to come. You know that a T-Rex is about to smash down on some guest member or
Some dude in a toilet about to get nailed.
somebody taking
And not in a good way.
Exactly. Nah, man. I think Jurassic Park, for its time and even still in today, it is arguably one of the most recognized soundtracks in the world for any culture person, you play that, they know exactly where it comes from.
Awesome. And Caleb?
Mine is not only, in my opinion, the best soundtrack, but arguably the most iconic of all time. I'm going with Star Wars Episode 4. John Williams, an absolute masterclass in regards to creating an atmosphere that is larger than life. You see that opening scroll in Star Wars, everybody knows that. That sound is iconic. But even moving on from that, the quieter moments, it's there. We have these moments that build characters up and we can feel the tension rising. All of this is backed up by an absolutely amazing score by John Williams. I'm going to steal my
Your crib notes.
because someone's talking about awards. The score, John Williams won an Oscar, Golden Globe, BAFTA, 3 Grammys, and a Saturn Award for just the first
And a partridge in a pear tree.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
And the award for getting the most awards.
So if we're going to go simply by awards, then obviously John Williams wins. But the fact that it is still, to this day, after over 50 years, still in everybody's mind, it stands the test of time. I'm going to go with Star Wars Episode 4.
Now fight it out.
I think Star Wars is an iconic one. It's very difficult. I mean, John Williams, both soundtracks, probably the greatest of all time, John Williams. I think we can make that argument in terms of consistent body of work over time. John Williams is the GOAT. I think every composer who looks at him goes, wow, what a body of work.
Good.
But the question was not who's the best composer, it's what's the best soundtrack. And
It's fine.
Soundtrack. Score.
Viewers
score
assume
track.
they mean score.
Assume they mean score. I think the thing for me about Star Wars Episode 4 is I don't even think it's John Williams' best score. I think his better score is actually Empire Strikes Back, where we end up with other things that bring a bit more nuance and difference to the character, to the characters. The original Star Wars score is very space opera. Boom, that's the brief, go. And it does that. It takes you on that journey, but it feels like a very uplifting, straightforward journey. Empire Strikes Back is probably a better one where we bring in the Imperial March and Darth Vader's theme, which is unfortunately absent from Episode 4, and I think that balances it a bit better. So I don't even think, unfortunately, you've picked John Williams' best work. Even though it does win all those awards, I think that a year later he'd probably win for Empire over Episode 4. Whereas if you look at Ludwig Göransson coming in, he's worked on a lot of different things. He brings those elements into a film that is incredibly complex, delves into different elements of human nature. The brief, I think, is far more complex for Oppenheimer than for Star Wars, and similarly for Jurassic Park. I think Jurassic Park is an iconic dinosaur movie, and we're also drawn in by nostalgia on a lot of those. I think that they do stand out as incredible scores, but it's very nostalgic. It's very... we remember seeing these things on the big screen and we associate that score with the memories of seeing a dinosaur on the thing or seeing an amazing space battle, whereas Oppenheimer the score for Oppenheimer has to operate within a very different space and carry us through a story that is very complex, a character with many levels. It has to back up a layered performance, and I think that the layering in the soundtrack really backs up that beyond anything we've seen in a very, very long time.
Where I'll argue with you is I think the best scene is Oppenheimer. That's so embarrassing.
You just dropped the bomb there.
Yeah, exactly. But that actually is my point. The best part in Oppenheimer is when there's no music.
And that is because of the build-up to it. So if you look at the Oppenheimer
I don't
score...
care. You spoke enough.
If you look at the score goes from... He tells a story that literally builds the tension up to that moment, so that when you hit with the silence, it's that much more impactful.
Very good rebuttal. I want to hear more from Cameron.
I think that Oppenheimer, for me personally, was a snooze fest for the most part. I thought it was a great picture, and the soundtrack was good. But for the most part, it was drowned out by the hype of everything else. I think that if you had to ask me what the pivotal moments were, it was definitely not what was going on in the background. It was what was happening right in front of you. Similarly, and look, as a massive Star Wars fan, especially 4, 5, 6, I think that the score is great.
The score track.
Yes, they're all great, but I agree with Bruce. If I had to argue the best, Vader's was absolutely peak. I mean, that was just next level. You felt the atmosphere shift when the track changed, from the original to the add-on with Vader. However, when it comes to Jurassic Park, it it is just timeless and seamless in every way, facet, and form. From their new animated series all the way to the latest Worlds, and possibly even into the new trilogy coming out now. You know that when you hear what's about to go down, something's about to go down.
But is that just the main theme, or is it the entire soundtrack for the film score?
I have a rebuttal I'm going to add on to that, because we all know.
Wrap it into your final argument.
We all know the final score of Jurassic Park. We know the melody, but we don't know everything else that takes place. Nothing else really stands the test of time. And everything that's great about the main Jurassic Park melody can be said about Star Wars. Now, you also want to talk about, the best one happens in Star Wars 5. Maybe so. But the groundwork was laid in the first Star Wars film. You can't say, it gets better in the second one. Maybe it does, but 90% of the groundwork was set in the first film. And we are completely forgetting that film was so revolutionary, it created a new genre of music called jizz. I'm not joking.
You would know much about that one.
You can fact check me.
No, I believe you. No, it is.
Don't Google that.
No, you are correct. I know what you're talking about.
So the fact of the matter is, it's not just the grand score. It's the fact that It's the fact that John Williams was able to create a song that was so catchy.
But that wasn't
an
the
entire
argument.
genre
The
came
argument
out
was
of it.
the score.
No, but the song is part of the score. It's an original piece.
Yeah, but it's based on that. I mean, even when you started your debate, you said it's the opening crawl. It's that.
The opening crawl was the big.
Are you done with your final
Sorry.
argument? Then it's going to go roll into Bruce giving a final argument.
The opening scroll is one of the most iconic, but everything works together to create a universe that is completely unique. Not just the iconic songs, but even in the background. When Tatooine comes into view for the first time, you can hear
What
the little
music's playing
melodies
with
in the background.
Tatooine?
It's a. I wanted to start this.
Okay,
Can I
let
just-
Bruce make. Okay, if you want to.
I had one thing I just wanted to say. I wanted to start the thing by going, everyone do your melody. I would love to hear you do.
It's too complex, Caleb. I can't do it. Too many layers.
Okay, go for your final argument.
I think just in terms of a rounded soundtrack that doesn't rely on the film coming before it to lay groundwork, if we're going to say that the next one's better, in terms of a grounded soundtrack that is completely laid and tells its own story in terms of rises and falls. Rises and falls. You listen to someone like Alexander Desplat, he'll talk about function and he'll talk about function and fiction.
Parents,
And
please.
The Oppenheimer score completely blends function and fiction together so beautifully to tell the story. From the scientist working in the background, from the beauty and the fear of the knowledge that we are that literally is wrought onto the world after this film. It does this perfect dance between different elements of the score, bringing forward fear, anxiety, beauty, horror, and then melding all together and we're trying to contemplate that. So I think Oppenheimer is the best score on a rounded level for a film, and I will die on that hill.
Awesome.
I hope you dig a shallow grave.
Cameron.
Again, I think for me, based on the question, it would generally be what is the most iconic, what is the most score that everybody would instantly click to, and for me, I die on that hill.
Someone's dying on a hill.
I would die on my mountain because it's taller.
This is no indicator of who's winning this round. Time.
Also, we use Darth Vader.
No, so I think it's safe to say let's cut right to the point. Bruce schooled you guys today. Bruce is clearly.
Guys, if there was one that I wanted to win, it was that one.
Bruce's knowledge and education on the matter.
How to argue that?
Yeah, he brought it to a hard to argue question. It's hard to argue, and I love the points you guys made, but they got you on not being able to pinpoint anything outside of the main theme, and nothing is as good a killer argument as you did. The movie you picked does not include the Darth Vader theme.
It has jizz, guys.
Yeah, but remember that. The question isn't what sets the best foundation. It was what is the best movie. And if the second one's better, then it's the second one. So I think that was a beautiful cut down of the argument, and Bruce absolutely gets
Well
that
done,
point.
Bruce.
Ludwig Göransson, very underrated. He also did Black Panther. I don't know if he did the first one. I know he did the second one. And Black Panther 2 has a fantastic, Wakanda Forever has a fantastic score. Really iconic, especially the sirens and stuff. So go check him out. Did you know, if I'm not mistaken, you're going to not believe me, I'm pretty sure he also did New Girl's score. I'm not even joking. So go check that out at home. Maybe I'm an idiot.
Yes.
But I'm a pretty big Ludwig Göransson fan. So
Damn.
and I'm pretty sure it's because of Oppenheimer that got me on that. That and Black Panther. So well done. Okay. We stand at 1 point Caleb and 1 point Bruce. And we lead into probably one of the more serious questions. A question that's going to get us a bit... we're going to have to get a bit more serious for this one.
This is a rough one.
So let's just be respectful and just understand the heavy material.
I'm not looking forward to
Few movie actors have been as successful with as many terrible movies as Adam Sandler. And even if you love him, you have to admit that he's had more than a couple of stinkers over the last few decades. So we want to know, what is the worst Adam Sandler movie? Cameron, we're going to start
I
with
approach this with reverence, guys. It's a very tough topic.
I think personally, Click is by far the worst Adam Sandler movie ever produced. Not only with bad acting, but with bad casting.
You're hurting my heart.
No, just keep going.
The fact that Caleb likes it.
Immediately disqualified.
Yeah. I mean, Click was just, it had so many plot holes, and this is plot armor. You know, the movie made zero to no sense, and bad. It ruined my childhood.
Awesome. Okay. Caleb.
I went with Pixels because it is a movie I really struggled to watch, and I tried because I loved the concept of it. I loved the idea of immersing yourself in a video game world and meeting characters and having these characters come to life. So imagine my disappointment when you have a great concept and you can't even make an average movie. You have a great concept and you make something bad. And not only is it bad, it's worse than bad, it's boring. And I think that's the worst crime a film can make, where something is boring to the point where it is unmemorable. My immediate response was to say Pixels, and then I realized, crap, I need to actually rewatch this movie because I don't remember anything about
how
it.
bad it was.
So I had to watch it again, and this is the crazy thing. I rewatched this movie a week ago. Ask me any of the characters' names.
Who's Adam Sandler's character?
Adam Sandler. Like, there's no difference to him, and incredibly deflating experience.
Okay. Bruce.
Again, there's a body of work to cover here that's quite extensive, and more than a few bad ones out there. For me, the most egregious of them is Blended. Filmed here in South Africa.
It's okay to be wrong, Bruce. Just letting you know.
I have several issues with this film that I take very personally because I work outside of all this in zoology and in tourism, and I'm a cricket player. This movie destroys all of those things simultaneously in one hot garbage of a mess of a film. It is unfunny. It paints a very poor picture of South Africa's tourism as a start. It's more so than unfunny. It's potentially damaging. It paints our tourism industry as this zoo that you can kind of come and visit, where the guides don't know what's going on. The animals are doing strange things. You can ride ostriches for some reason. It's just there's no foundation for this whatsoever. And then he's kind of slaps in a cameo with Dale Steyn, and then craps all over cricket. I'm like, dude, this is just designed to make me upset, and that's exactly what the film did. It hit every possible button, aside from being just horribly unfunny and cringeworthy to watch. For me, it like really started to mark. I started to notice a decline in his films, but when I watched Blended, I was like, wow, this is really we getting to the cringe of Adam Sandler's scraping the barrel to keep himself employed at this point.
Awesome openings. Fight it out.
I think to start, Bruce, to your point and argument, the question is the worst Adam Sandler movie, not the one that you dislike the most.
I dislike the worst one the most.
And I, for one, love Blended. I thought Blended was a great movie, from Drew Barrymore all over us, and I love Terry Crews. And again, I argue your point, like, South Africa is a zoo, and I think they pinpointed it so accurately.
Guys, you're cutting me deep. And that film, to me, the issue with it is what makes it such a bad film is that it's so aggressively incorrect.
But it's not.
It is.
I come from
work in that
Rustenburg.
industry.
I go to Sun City all the time. And like
But
that's
Sun City doesn't paint the picture of tourism in our country, and that's the problem. Is that it's taking. I don't want to make this a debate about tourism, but it's taking an issue and oversimplifying it and making it plain boring. Whereas at least in Click, you have a life lesson that's being taught to you. You
Like
look
what?
at that. Don't wish your life away.
Yeah.
There's a valuable lesson to be learned from the movie. Yes, the film isn't Adam Sandler's greatest outing. He's
Ever.
probably doing better. He's probably doing better in the dramatic stuff he's doing now.
oh,
but-
so like blended.
yeah, because Blended is peak drama. At least Click has a bit of a message, and it's got something behind it that has a bit more heart. Whereas Blended just feels like Adam Sandler wanted to come to South Africa on holiday, and that's what he did. He just came to South Africa on holiday, smushed together this pile of garbage, put it out as a movie, and expected everyone to be happy with it. And I can't deal with that. Whereas at least your movie had a good concept. It had a reason to be made. Yes, they failed in execution, but damn, at least they had a reason to make it. Blended is just Adam Sandler wanted a holiday.
Well, this is what I'll say in response to you guys.
Bruce is correct. I love his answer. Blended sucks.
Both Blended and Click have higher IMDb scores than Pixels.
Yeah, 'cause that's the real measure.
The world kind of agrees with me. But where I actually... Wait, so have I got this the wrong way?
Yes, you do.
Please read that again.
Pixels has the lowest score.
Yeah, so it's the worst movie.
Yes, so the world agrees with me. Your movies are better.
These aren't fact wars. Please keep fact.
Okay, but anyway, so let me get to my straight up honest thoughts and feelings. You have a lot of good stuff
We don't
coming
have
out
enough
of
time
Blended.
for your feelings.
There's a lot of good that comes out of Blended. You have Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler coming together again after 50 First Dates, which was a phenomenal film. And they have great chemistry. And the film tackles a great idea of, look, we live in a world that's broken. There are a lot of broken families, and they're finding love and joy in one another. That is a good message. I enjoy that. What is wrong with you? Click is a good movie. Click is genuinely good. I cry in multiple scenes in Click.
Not
It
just
is a
not just in Click.
heartbreaking- It's a heartbreaking movie.
Cameron, give me more. I want to hear more from you, Cameron.
For me, Click is by far the worst. Like I stated in my opening statement, there is just so many plot holes. I mean, here you have this cosmic remote that can do anything, and you use it to do what exactly? Nothing. At the end of the movie, you are exactly where you left off. You started in that place, you ended in that place. Not only does the remotes, like I said, the plot holes are so massive that you rewind a certain person, but time in itself still carries on, and the person is so dumb that they don't notice it. You know, they're
Yeah, I think looking at like physics and space time in an Adam Sandler movie is not really where you want to be basing
And I
your.
think your idea of a plot hole is more of a, in my personal opinion, this wouldn't happen. That's not a plot hole.
But it's not a personal opinion.
The remote still functions within the rules of its own universe as it is stipulated.
well, then we could argue that
Wait.
so is Pixels.
No, Pixels just sucks.
We could argue
I
the
think the
exact
biggest-
same thing with
Okay,
Pixels.
then argue Pixels.
Because the reality is that the video game space which they were niching to is obviously Sega, and they were obviously trying to bring a love for old arcade games into a modern day culture, which didn't. And I think for the most part, actually did work, because many people moved into the Nintendo, which partnerships massively with Sega in the space. We saw a revival in Sonic. We saw a revival with Pac-Man. We saw so many good things come from arguably a bad movie. The worst, absolutely not. The reality is, much like Blended, at least there was an end to the movie. At Click, you started and you ended.
Click is about the journey, not so much as the
2 hours
destination.
later at the same place. No.
Okay, Caleb, wrap this into your final argument.
My final argument is simply this. It takes a lot for me to dislike video games. This movie made me want to hate everyone who plays video games.
Yet you watched it
doesn't
again.
I watched it again because I forgot it was so bad. You know what, Cameron? You suck.
Okay, Cameron, final argument.
I only watched Click once because it was that bad. I didn't want to rewind it or fast forward or pause. I wanted to pause it all the time, but It was just such a trash movie, from acting to plot to cast. Just terrible in every way, facet, and form. Especially the movie itself. Bad.
Bruce, give us
For
your
me,
final.
Blended is just the most egregious misuse of funds that the South African economy will ever see on a film, on a set. It is Adam Sandler's one of his arguably his weakest outing acting wise. I don't think that the fact that you're reuniting cast members who did well in a previous film redeems the movie at all. That you're bringing two characters who work well together. If the story is bad, if the film is poorly set, if it is literally just untrue throughout so much of what it's trying to convey, without having any real, they kind of dance around this issue of blending and different families come together, but it's danced around, it's not really addressed. It's
blending, blending.
that is egregious. It just makes my skin crawl.
Okay, time.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Time. Thank you.
Release your hand.
Yeah. Okay, so for some reason, Bruce, all you've done is make these
I'm
two
just so
dudes
angry.
want to watch Blended again. So I agree with you. I think
Thank you.
Blended is a piece of shit movie.
Yes, it's garbage.
And I hate how it paints South Africa. And I am too from Rustenburg. There's no ostriches right at the doors of Sun City. Thank you very much.
And you can't ride them.
Yeah. So,
Have you tried?
But that being said, I think these guys gave good reasons why yours feels like more of a personal.
It's a personal
hatred,
vendetta, and yes, I will.
which is fair. I'm with you.
I'm working through it, guys.
But the point isn't yours, Caleb. I think you lost kind of the concept of what arguing is in this one.
It was all about feelings. When you started talking about feelings
expressions.
and crying.
But I think it helped Cameron to have an emotional support animal here today, because Cameron gets the point not for the best click debate, because frankly, okay, it actually got pretty good towards the end. I liked your approach to it, but I think you so creatively deconstructed the other two that you did not uplift
We just got so angry.
Click. You just brought them down to your level and won because of that. And for that, Cameron gets the point.
To be honest, could you elevate Click? That's the point.
Click is definitely the best movie of the three. That's a fact. And Pixels wasn't bad. Why did no one bring up Kevin James as president? That's like the... you should have said that and you would have gotten the point. Okay. On to our fourth question. The 2024 Oscars were quite controversial, to say the least, with certain films that were nominated and some that were completely left off the list. So we want to ask you, what's the biggest 2024 Oscars Best Picture snub? And we're going to start with Caleb.
For me, it is 100% Wicked. Wicked was a phenomenal film, and I got really emotional watching it. And obviously, that's a good indicator of whether a film is good or not. But
Not for you.
The truth of the matter is, it lost out to the worst movie I've ever seen. And Emilia Perez, the fact
That's
that
not what won.
in the music department,
The question is Best Picture, so I'm going to give you a chance to just...
I did not understand the question then.
It's Best Picture. Emilia Perez did not win. Honora won Best Picture. But continue
But then
fighting.
why?
It's all good. Just keep going. Wicked.
Okay, so I just have to say it has to win Best Picture, not just its
Yes,
nomination.
it has to win Best Picture. I'm just...
I
you.
wouldn't have chosen Wicked.
Can we just R2D2 that, please?
Okay, let me rephrase this. Damn, that's actually a stuff up on my side. Sorry, guys.
I'm not cutting any of this. Keep going.
So, Wicked.
Okay. Caleb, I'm going to let you... Okay, do you want to finish?
Let me start. So the reason I truly believe that Wicked was snubbed at the Oscars is it really was, like, in my opinion, a groundbreaking film. It shows that theatre can be adapted into film in a remarkable way. The fact that people who aren't necessarily theatre kids can enjoy a film like Wicked shows that this has the ability to cross mediums. It's a well-known story that adapts something like The Wizard of Oz, but brings it a completely new breath of life. We support people and characters that we originally hated in the first film. It takes a lot to rewrite someone's perception of a character, and I think Wicked does that very, very well.
Awesome.
You said the first film, was there more than one?
Oh, it's technically like a pseudo sequel / prequel to The
Okay,
Wizard of Oz.
Cameron, answer your question.
For me, it was Furiosa. I mean, I suppose being a Mad Max fan, there is some bias here, but the cinematography was absolutely beautiful. The story was not groundbreaking, but it grabbed attention. I mean, if Mad Max story is groundbreaking, then you're watching the wrong movie. I think it set out to do what it was supposed to. The soundtrack was beautiful. The actors were great. The whole bringing even past cast members back, as carry-ons from the originals and even the remake, Tom Hardy's remake. I think everything was just beautifully shot. Great time spent watching that. I didn't feel like I wasted my 3 hours listening to some songs.
Okay, Bruce.
For me, I think it was a real pain. Not the decision, the film. I find it very difficult. I think the biggest snub is that they weren't even nominated in the Best Picture category. How do you have a film that's nominated for Best Screenplay for Jesse Eisenberg, wins Best Supporting Actor with Kieran Culkin's performance, not even get nominated to be in the running for Best Picture? It's a film that tells a really intensely personal story that is circular. So yes, it does go from, it starts and ends in a very similar place, but it's the kind of movie that takes you on a journey. You go on a journey with two cousins who are reconnecting their relationship. It is a very raw movie. It takes you through some really interesting themes about terror or horror tourism and people going back to not only visit their own past and their own legacy, but also look at what's happening in the world and kind of compare that against what we see today. And Kieran Culkin's performance in that movie is phenomenal. I think he did win obviously Best Supporting, but he's alongside Jesse Eisenberg, who's giving just as good a performance, and they didn't really feel like there was a lead actor in it. I think they both gave really incredible performances. The score is amazing. When Jesse Eisenberg was writing it, he actually had the score and the songs in mind for each scene as they were going to play out. And I think having a force on screen like Kieran Culkin was in that, he was so different from every take that they did. If you listen to the behind the scenes, he was almost like uncontrollable for Jesse Eisenberg, and that comes across on screen as his character. His character is this wild, free spirit that just goes up in the world and experiences. That movie is about experience. It really leaves you something to chew on at the end. You come through it, you go on a journey with the characters, you leave the journey, and you leave the cinema thinking about the world, your place in it, and your relationships and how you affect other people. And I think that was a really, really harsh that it didn't even crack a nomination for Best Picture.
Awesome. Find it out.
Bruce, you spend a lot of time talking about experiences. Wicked was an experience.
Wicked was an experience.
It was a bloody good experience.
A painful experience.
I think Wicked was a real pain. Wicked. I thoroughly enjoyed Wicked. It was all the things that you say that it is, but I don't think that makes it a candidate for Best Picture. I think it's very difficult to judge the story as a whole. Firstly, when it's part one, when you sit down in the cinema and you see part one, you go, okay, where's it going to go? I think we may view the movie, for better or worse, differently when the second part comes out, which makes it very difficult to judge. And I'm going to say the thing that nobody's willing to say because everyone's too scared of the theatre kids. It was too long.
Absolutely.
The movie I was engaged. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the musical numbers. I agree with you that it brings theatre to the screen in a very different way. But a film lives and dies on the editing floor, and you cannot tell me that they couldn't cut 20 minutes out of that movie. It's almost 3 hours long, 2 hours 45, something like that. The entire play on Broadway is that time, and this was part one. So I think it's a little self-indulgent, it's a little over the top in that sense, but it does take you on a journey with the characters. I enjoy it. I look forward to part two to see how it's going to wrap up, because it also leaves you in the middle of the story.
You spent a lot of time talking about the two aspects of A Real Pain that you really enjoyed, and I feel like if you take those two aspects out, the entire film falls flat.
So if you take out the writing and the performances, the movie does fall flat.
Yeah, except unless it's a musical.
Which
unless
two
it's
points?
a musical, which you also have good music and you have good sets and you have great choreography and you have awesome costumes and you have great visual effects.
But none of those individual aspects were none of those won at the Oscars. So
let's let Cameron jump into this.
I think for the most part, we're talking about Best Picture, not Best Story or Best Musical, Best Picture, Best Experience. For myself, I'll be honest as well. I'm in Caleb's boat. I misunderstood the question because my argument would be, but they did win something.
I was about to say, like, because
at the Oscars.
Best experience and best picture are also two different things.
Yeah, so I do think that A Real Pain wasn't a pain to watch, but would I give it an Oscar? Absolutely not, because of the lackluster behind it. I felt like they were really trying to pick a niche instead of presenting a picture.
What niche were they trying to?
A family niche, coming together, sorting out your issues kind of niche. But was it a good picture? I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think it was a great redemptive story, but a good movie as
so they
a
picked
whole.
an issue and they resolved it, and it's not a good.
Yeah.
Whereas I think, like you said it in your opening argument, is Mad Max does what it's meant to do.
Yeah.
And it does. It entertains you, but is it best picture? No. And I don't think I need to qualify that with a lot
Caleb,
more.
final statement.
My final statement is
But I didn't argue Wicked.
Oh, you can work it into your final statement.
my final
Oh,
answer
Lord.
is
Oh, no.
that I have conviction and I stand on my point. I still stand on my points that Wicked was screwed over at the Oscars. It's a phenomenal film, and every aspect of it is actually award-winning worthy.
Okay.
You could look at the cinematography and go, yes. You could look at the set design and go, yes. You could look at the performance. I do not like Ariana Grande, and she was phenomenal. You could look at Wicked from any point of view and say, could this win in that department? Yes, it could. In every category across the board, I truly believe Wicked got screwed over.
Cameron.
I think for the most part, just chatting about Wicked, one of the biggest issues is that they're trying to make the villain the good guy. And I think that's an agenda that the world is really pushing and prompting. And so for it to be nominated in that space would be to discredit what the movie is actually all about, or what the old theatrical play is all about, which you mentioned in your argument. I mean, it's debunking itself in that whole space. So why would you give something an Oscar which it's not doing what it was supposed to do, being a part one of something that is already existing? Whereas for myself, Furiosa was a different look at a very prominent character, a different aspect of the Mad Max franchise, which many people have always wanted a better backstory, a better outlook as to why she is such a prominent character within this world. Again, like for me, it's about world building, and that's my argument, whereas A Real Pain is just that. It comes and it ends.
Okay, give me a final argument, Bruce.
Cool. So I agree with you on that point. I think individually in the components, Wicked did get snubbed. But in overall best picture, I don't think that that's where it comes in. I think you can look at individual components of Wicked and go, that should be a contender, that should be a contender. I don't think as best picture, you can't judge something that's up first half in its entirety as a form. Obviously, the Broadway fans are interpreting it differently because they've seen the whole story. We might judge it very differently when the next part comes out. In terms of Furiosa, I think one of your biggest criticisms of me was that it's like just fleshing out a story between siblings and that, and then you said that it fleshes out the story of a fictional character. So I think if that's an issue, we'll be at loggerheads with the same point there. But I just fail to see how a film that gets such great attention for writing and a phenomenal performance doesn't even get nominated as in the best picture category.
I have heard enough.
You are going to be shocked when they announce A Real Pain 2.
Another Real Pain. A Real Pain 2, Electric Boogaloo. So,
A bigger pain.
Cameron, I'm realizing I like your argument style. You swing, sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. There were some big misses for me in this argument. Sorry. Listen, where you're swinging...
I misunderstood the question. I had to pick it up from somewhere else.
Your swinging in the previous round got you the point, but I don't think arguing... Yours has a story. Is gonna get you the one. That's not the way to go, but I do like your commitment to the argument. Caleb...
Can I just say...
No, you can't yet. As judge, I have a personal rule that if someone does not do their research properly and does not read the very clear brief sent out to them, they are going to have to fight hard to get back. And get back you did not. So you do not get any points for that round because you were fighting the wrong
I've got so much
question.
respect for how you stuck to your guns in that, dude.
So
Guys,
Bruce,
these berries are amazing.
Bruce, I think you did the best job of explaining why your film should have won an Academy Award. Whereas you two fought a little bit too much of why it's good movies and why you enjoyed them, I think Bruce painted the best picture for why it should win that specific award. And he also understood the question going into it. And that gets you half the way, honestly.
This is favoritism.
You think just because he understands the question, he should get
So
a point?
Bruce, you get the point there.
Well done. I'm not even mad.
To be fair, Caleb was the one that explained the
I explained
question to me.
Yeah, it's weird how the guy that doesn't understand the question made you not understand the question.
Bro, like I feel like I should at least get some brownies.
You got all the documents Caleb had, so you should have read. We make these nice little PDFs for them. Okay.
The beautiful PDF.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
So we're going to go
Caleb
into
told
the...
me not to read that.
we're going to go into the last question here. A foundational plot device as old as cinema itself is the twist, with first instances of it in film dating back as far as 1920. Go look it up. With more than a century of movies to reference, we ask you, what is the best movie twist of all time? We'll start with Bruce.
I went with a very new one. So I actually watched Juror number 2. I think it's a film that a lot of people have missed out on. It's kind of slipped under the radar. And what I loved about the film is the twist is brought on not just as something to shock the audience, but it's an intrinsic plot device. It's literally that you meet this young man, you go on you get an insight into his life, Nicholas Hoult, the next Dr. Doom, of course. You go on a bit of a journey with him and you see his everyday life. He's called in to do something very mundane, which is do jury duty. And during the course of the case, he finds out that he potentially killed someone by mistake. And he now has to, there's this moment of that twist moment that you want of like, whoa, good one. So that hits you really early. And more than just being something that wows the audience, it becomes an intrinsic part of the plot because now this twist is something that you as the audience understand. It's using dramatic irony to amazing effect because you as the audience know what he knows. He knows this person on trial is not the killer, and he now has to navigate this world where he's trying to get this person acquitted without incriminating himself. So by introducing a massive twist like that early on in the film, it allows the movie to take on a completely different life rather than something that often as a twist is introduced kind of near the end and something to subvert your expectations a bit. This is an intrinsic plot device in moving the film forward in a really, really exciting and a new direction.
Awesome. Cameron?
So my initial pick was the orphan, the whole in the orphan where she's actually the baddie. Like, who saw that coming? But I thought, you know what, let's do a bit of a plot twist.
I'll allow
Change it up.
I'll allow it. I'll allow it. I'll allow it. It fits the theme. Go for it.
I think actually one of the greatest plot twists was Now You See Me, Mark Ruffalo being the head horseman. Who saw that coming?
No, I don't like you.
I like it. Keep going.
Okay, fine.
My plot has been twisted.
My plot's been sufficient. Twisted my plot.
Is that the end of your statement?
Well, let me add this as well. I think that he played the role of being the cop and covering up just so well, not only from the audience watching, but from a narrative and scriptural point. Like, I could find no plot holes. There was a great plot armor in that.
Plot armor counter.
And Cameron wins.
Sponsored by.
Okay, Caleb.
I would have to very easily go with Darth Vader being Luke Skywalker's father. Because this isn't just a plot twist that changes one movie, it's a plot twist that obviously changes a sequel and then eventually resolves itself in a trilogy. It completely changed everything. And it is iconic to this day. You still hear people quoting the line incorrectly, might I add. But
Very
it is so fundamentally involved in Star Wars now. That twist, I think, is a big reason why, and I might get flack for this, but I think it's a big reason why Star Wars is as popular as it is today, because that twist completely changed the dynamic from generic good guy to holy smokes, I need to understand more about this bad guy. What is his developments? Why is he now trying to get his son to join him? It added in so many additional elements and levels. It was no longer just a generic movie. It was a movie that I wanted to see through to the end.
Okay, fight.
Fight. I think let's talk about the plot twist with Vader, because that's something I've been thinking about a lot since I've been preparing for it, and it is a really good plot twist. It's something that I think has been burned into the cultural zeitgeist of plot twists. And the more I thought about it, I tried to sort of think, well, why does that not come to me first? And what it does do for me, I think, like you say, it does draw in a lot of questions. You start to question his motivations and that. But where I have my issue with that specific plot twist is that, that's a lot of spit, is that it specifically, it actually makes you question some of the key characters in a very negative way. I look at that plot twist and I go, why was the Emperor and Vader smart enough to use that as a manipulation against Luke, where Luke's mentors knew the whole story and were like, no, we're not going to tell him this. It's all good. Luke's training on Dagobah. They're trying to stop him from going. They're trying to throw everything at him to stop him from going. You're going to go down the same path as Vader. Would it not been a bit more impactful to say, don't make the same mistake your father made? And I think that it coming at that point loses a bit of the impact and makes you question Luke's mentors quite a bit, which you shouldn't be doing in a story where the journey's hero is dictated by Obi-Wan and Yoda. Potentially also because George Lucas made that Star Wars trilogy as a sort of the son redeeming the father kind of arc. Potentially it would be more impactful to actually have it in the first film and really have more time to deal with that situation of Luke's father being this evil villain that we've just known as a villain in the first film. To have maybe 2 movies to resolve that would have been a lot better than the movie and a quarter that we got to kind of have such a quick turnaround for the characters. But yeah, it's just for me that makes me question other aspects, and I wouldn't call it verging on plot holes, but it does make you question the character of Luke's mentors who are meant to be infallible, or not infallible, but really shining lights. And it impacts your rewatchability, because when you rewatch it, you go, just tell him, man.
I very much disagree with you there. What you've actually done is you've kind of gone, ooh, these characters that I was idolizing, maybe I shouldn't have. And that's the whole point of the prequel trilogy, to point out the fact that there were flaws in the Jedi system. So all you've done is actually gone, this is why we needed the prequels. And so you've built up a better point as to why we should watch more Star Wars. I don't even think your movie classifies as a plot twist because it takes place so early. It kind of negates itself. It is a crucial part of the story's development in a way that doesn't become a twist. It's like, oh yeah, this was part of the story. I liked it, but it is just a part of the story. There is nothing that was twisted for me to be surprised by it.
I think the way
yours is just a cheat.
No, it's a fair cheat and it's a good use of the system. I want to hear more from you, Cameron.
Fair use of the system.
For me, I think that Darth Vader being Luke Skywalker is possibly the worst plot twist in history, because of the fact that, let's be honest, we should just rename Star Wars to Family Wars. It is all about a family, and if you did not put the puzzle pieces together early enough, then you're gonna be okay with incest all the time. It's not, and look, I say that coming from I'm a massive Darth Vader fan. Like, Darth Vader taught me that it's okay to turn to the dark side every once in a while. You know what I'm saying?
That's not a good thing.
You know what I'm talking about, Vince? Hey.
It's fine to father children randomly and reveal yourself once they're of age.
But the reality is that I don't think that was a plot twist at all. I think that was just a grab at trying to push the agenda of what the story was all about. Like, how are we gonna make this feel emotionally? Like, how are we gonna give him an emotional response here? Oh, let's just say it's his dad. I don't necessarily think it. And to me, I think it's possibly the worst decision that Star Wars made, because it now made everything about a family. Now it is all about midichlorians and Skywalker.
I've heard a lot about Star Wars. I want to hear something about the other.
I would say one thing.
Sure.
Everything you have said about Darth Vader's twist, about it being an emotional reaction, etc., 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 can be directly tied to the Mark Ruffalo reveal. It's kind of like this thing that just happens to go, ooh, let's catch the audience out. Let's trick them.
Well,
the
actually
twist is
not.
more about trying to trick the audience than it is about trying to tell a compelling story.
It's not
There
if-
are no additional character beats that take place. There are no additional, ooh, let's dissect.
Did you
how
even
this
watch the
character-"
movie?
No, it's a plot
Yeah,
twist.
I want to
didn't-
hear your rebuttal. Explain why he's wrong.
Who?
You explain why he's wrong.
About my movie?
Yes.
Great. How
is
you're
how
wrong
the show
is
works.
because this is the whole movie is actually about Ruffalo's character and his past. It's about bringing together the story of his dad dying and using the people who are the main cast as the diversion. That is beautiful.
I haven't seen the movie. I didn't know you were debating it today.
No, it's a fair use of the system.
And when
If
it
the
comes,
question wasn't about twists, you wouldn't have got it. But I think it's creative, so I'm letting it happen.
and I think when it comes to jury, I thought the movie was great had they not done it before. You know, there was the jury one, which was the same thing, the bad guy being in the jury, and plot twist in the first one. I just think you like the character because you want him to be Doctor
Dr. Doom. I
Doom.
just want Nicholas Hoult to be Dr. Doom. I think what's nice about I'm gonna rebut Caleb's point because I haven't seen your movie. Basically
That's such
saying
a
that.
niche.
Breathe,
I don't know
Caleb,
if
breathe.
anyone's going to get that. That's
No, I'm gonna. Everyone have a sip.
Gather yourselves. I don't know if I could even clip that because it's
That
so
was beautiful. So
such a
organic.
specific moment.
Where were we?
I'm checking if Cameron could still win.
Yeah, that's just kind of there.
No final debates. No final.
I don't even care. Cameron wins.
Yeah.
Of course.
Plot hole. Plot twist. Plot armor.
That is the greatest twist of all time.
You gamed the system twice. You did it once. I thought you couldn't do it again, and you did. It's funny, Cameron. Caleb, you were gonna win that. Your points were really good, but you weren't that funny.
Not me.
No, it's fair. I think I want to reward entertainment,
Ingenuity.
so and creativity. So for that point, you get the point, and you move on. I'm sorry, Caleb, you do not progress to the speed
And
round.
my own YouTube channel.
Yes. For that,
You're
for that
my
reason, it will be Bruce and Cameron in the speed round showdown. Congratulations.
Okay, let's go.
Oh, that was good. Damn, I didn't see that coming. I was crying.
Why were you guys crying? I was crying because I misunderstood. Wait,
No.
it's Jury 2.
It's not a sequel.
Yes,
the
that's
joke.
okay. That's what I was like.
It was just
The movie's called Juror Number 2.
the fact that he didn't say it like a joke, because obviously you know it's not a sequel, right? So the fact that it wasn't sold as a joke and it
Cameron
was
was-
perfect. No, it was 100% going to be you, by the way.
Yeah, no, dude, that was
just
such
too
a
good.
I'm so angry.
That was
Yeah.
great. Okay.
It's such a good plot twist. I struggled for days.
Yeah, well done. So I'm gonna explain now the rules of the speed round. I will ask you a question. Answers are first come, first serve. If you can't give us an answer, you will forfeit the point. You will have 20 seconds each, one at a time, no interruptions, for your initial argument, followed by 15-second rebuttals. A winner will be decided after the rebuttals with a voting system between myself, Caleb, and if we don't agree, Suella behind the cameras will break the will break the twist. The overall winner of plot armor will be the contestants with an unbeatable amount of points. You both stand on 2, so it resets it. In other words, the first to 3 will be the winner. The first to 3 points.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Okay, just to clarify, we're going to get answers first, and then I'll tell you when your arguments start. Okay, are you ready for your first question?
No.
Sure.
Okay, remember, first answer, first fighter, whatever. Okay, the question is, answer as quick as you can. What is the best theater snack?
Popcorn.
Okay, give another answer.
Yo. My girlfriend. No, I'm joking.
No, let's.
Okay. Best theater snack would be Astros.
Great. Okay. Bruce, I heard you first, so you're going to fight first. 20 seconds on the clock. Starts in 3, 2, 1.
There's nothing more iconic than popcorn. It is literally the go-to snack. Going to the cinemas evokes the smell of popcorn. It's something that's ingrained in all of us. It's versatile. You can put pretty much any flavorings with it, which are all offered as part of the popcorn. You don't have to add anything to it. And it's just an awesome all-around snack.
Awesome. Cameron, your point starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Who doesn't love chocolate covered in cookie? I mean, that's just the best thing ever. And you can put it on your popcorn. It kind of makes a better flavor, as you stated for yourself. I mean, what better snack than a snack added to a snack?
Snackception.
Are you ready for your rebuttal in 3, 2, 1?
So your proposed snackception requires said popcorn in order to work. So I'm going to say that popcorn
necessarily.
remains. Well, if you're going to add it to a snack, it's got to be added. So popcorn,
said you
iconic.
can
It
add
lasts you longer than Astros, and it's going to be the snack that keeps you throughout a whole movie.
Okay, hold on. And 3, 2, 1.
But here's the reality. Astros doesn't leave bits in your teeth that you fight months to get out. When I leave a cinema after eating popcorn, I'm like, why did I do that?
And time. Whereas you made a compelling argument for a good snack, you made the best argument for the best theatre snack, which was the question. So my point goes to Bruce. What would you say?
100% Bruce.
Okay, and also you said chocolate covered in cookie, which is an incorrect description
Of Astros.
It's cookies covered in chocolate. So unfortunately,
You're right.
that lost you. Okay.
I'm confused.
Okay, so the first point goes to Bruce. Second question. Remember, first answer starts. We asked you what is the worst Adam Sandler film. Now we ask you what is the best Adam Sandler.
50 First Dates.
Okay.
Lucky Gil. No.
Yeah, Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore.
Lucky Gilmore. He's lucky. It's happy.
Okay, I heard you first, Bruce, and the 20 seconds on the clock starts in 3, 2, 1.
I think we touched on it earlier. The chemistry he has with Drew Barrymore in that movie is absolutely phenomenal. It touches on all of the best parts of Adam Sandler's acting ability. It's heartfelt, and it really has a good message about making somebody that you love fall in love with you every single day, which is something we should be doing if we're in a relationship. So, great message, funny movie. Adam Sandler rocks at probably the peak of his powers there.
Awesome. And your 20 seconds starts in 3, 2, 1.
Well, I think that Happy Gilmore was the peak of Adam Sandler's career. I mean, I think that that was one of the best, if not the best, movies ever made. I think the plot was great, the story, the people, the cast. It was funny. It wasn't drawn out. It wasn't dragged. 51st
Time. Okay, and your rebuttal starts in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, sorry, Cameron, you just mentioned all things that make a movie good, and you said they were good. So it's you're not putting out specifics there, but 50 First Dates, I think, at the heart of it, has got so many different actors as well in the film. You got Sean Astin coming in and playing a guy with a lisp. You'd never expect to see Sam Weiss do that. So again, lots of unexpected laughs.
Time. Okay, and your rebuttal starts in 3, 2, 1.
I think that chemistry is, or a movie is more than chemistry. And I think that as much as 50 First Dates did that, it wasn't fun. It didn't leave the rest of, this sucks.
Okay, time. Okay.
It wasn't fun. How is the penguin walking into the road not fun?
Okay.
It was adorable.
I have to say, it goes without saying Bruce gets the second point. Because saying I like the movie because of the plot and story is not a valid argument. So, for you to stay in the game, you have to win this next round. Okay, speed round question 3. I laugh because I want to see how this goes. First answer. Name the longest movie.
Wicked.
The longest movie.
5.
Lord of the Rings Extended Edition. Fellowship Extended.
Okay. Now, how this special edition of a speed round question works, Bruce wins. We all know that's longer. And the winner.
Here's more time. That's not fair. It was supposed to be first answer gets the bet. Like,
No, so how are the specific questions? Sometimes we sneak in questions that all they require is the best answer. No argument.
You know what you should have done? Wicked Part 1, leading into Part 2.
So
what he said.
yeah. So I am happy to announce that the main character of this episode of Plot Armor is Bruce Cressy! Brilliant. Although I must say, if there was points for entertainment, Cameron was the most entertaining of the episode, and Caleb was there. So that
And he didn't cry.
Yeah, and he didn't cry. I cried on this episode. I have to admit it. I cried. The set is falling apart.
Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to once again take this opportunity to thank God for making this possible and for putting us on this journey to fight about the stuff we love with the people we love. We'd also take another chance to thank Tabadine for the emptied drinks because they were delicious, and we'd love to thank JR Art and Design for the caricature drawings. Where's yours? Pop out there. Look at that beautiful man. Bring a show to the camera. I don't know which one's the real guy. There you go. Bruce, is there anything you'd like to say to the camera? Anything you want to plug? Your spotlight.
Yeah, guys. So I'm going to be at Comic Con soon. So if you see me at Comic Con Cape Town, show up, say how's it, or is this before Comic Con comes out?
Yes.
Or not? Cool. So yeah, I'll be at Comic Con Cape Town doing some panels there. So you can check me out at Comic Con. You can follow me on social media at What's Popping for celebrity interviews, movie reviews, and lots of Pokemon stuff as well. Doing lots of Pokemon stuff. And hopefully I'll be back to bring the Blue Flames back to defend my title at some point. It'll be really, really cool.
Hell
Thanks.
yeah, we'll definitely
Thanks so much
see
for having
those
us,
fans
guys.
back in town.
Hey.
Okay, and Cameron, anything you want to plug? Anything you want to say to the camera before we go?
Yeah, I think that this was fun. It was great. If you get an invite, add things in the comment. Maybe we pick you. I don't know.
Hell yeah.
Come on now. But it's a lot of fun. Good to be with friends. Good to have some
Hell
good
yeah.
time. So thanks.
No, thanks to you. Caleb, I don't care what you have to say. This is your channel. People know where to find you. And on that note, see you next time on the Battleground, which will be every other Monday. Bye-bye now.